Hey there, welcome to saas.unbound podcast. I'm your host, Anna Dana, head of growth at SaaS Group, a serial acquirer buying wonderful SaaS businesses to take them to the next level. And here I chat with inspiring founders and experts to get an inside scoop on how they made their business a success. And today with me, again, is Joran, founder of Reditus, affiliate management software tailored for SaaS businesses. So welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. Oh, welcome. Glad to be back.
That's a habit that's very difficult to shake off. I know. How's your podcast going, by the way?
It's going good. It's going good. I mean, I'm having a bit of summer struggle, I guess, to get guests on the podcast, to be honest. But like, it's been growing month over month, and it's been a really nice, yeah, growth channel for us, just because we get some good guests on there, and they share their presence. They see the Reditus hoodie, so it's going good.
Cool. All right. But today we have with you a bit of a different podcast, a bit of a different angle that we wanted to explore here because, yeah, we were just talking a little bit before we hit the record button. And I shared with Joran that, last year or this year, was it this year or a little bit into the last year too? Anyway, I noticed that you got quieter, right? You're always very prominent on LinkedIn, always talking about Reditus and the podcast and your guests. And then boom, like there was nothing for a while. And I was like, okay, it can be two things. It's either you got a really big client that you're building with and you're busy and social media is not a priority right now, or you're getting acquired. And and then obviously I learned that you guys had an offer and you were in a process of due diligence. So this is exactly what we're going to talk about today because unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know, you tell me, the deal fell through at the end. So this is something that I feel like we don't talk enough about, like the reasons why it can go south and what to watch out for. And shameless plug, we will talk about it a lot during our M&A course that is live next month. But yeah, I'm happy to to talk to you, to chat with you about your experience. But yeah, tell me about it. Like, what was we were never even in the picture. How come? Because we never thought you were for sale. So
Exactly. I didn't know either. I thought it was quite interesting. I guess like the LinkedIn thing you mentioned. Like I did not know. I thought like if you just disappear from LinkedIn, nobody is gonna miss you. But it's nice to see that people are actually, or nice to hear that people are actually missing you. So that is interesting. But regarding the acquisition, no, we weren't looking for selling. I mean, we aren't really looking for selling now either. So I guess like no need to reach out right now. It's just, I don't know. It just circumstances, I guess, came together in a way. I did my normal demo during a to a big company, and what happened, I guess, like we did our normal follow up, and the only line I think I got back is like, "Hey, are you actually looking to sell your company?" And it was on a Friday afternoon. I was a bit in a funny mood where I was like, "Yeah, sure, like just give me an offer, and then we'll consider it." Like I guess just a one line email, and they actually came back like, "Yeah, we have X million of funds in our bank account ready to disposal, so or we're happy to talk about like an acquisition." I was like, "Well, that number sounds good to me, so maybe we do have the need to have a chat." And that's kind of how it got started. So definitely weren't looking, weren't doing anything for it, and then yeah, we kind of started the conversation just with an email going back and forth, I guess, being funny on a Friday afternoon.
that's very interesting. It's very often that and it's usually I talk to founders who were looking for an acquirer, but yeah, that's what they say. Like sometimes you just completely ignore the customers you're working with, and you never kind of consider them as a possible buyer. And then out of the blue, they're like, "Oh, we didn't know you were for sale. We would be interested." So I think those could be the best relationships ever because then they know you, you know them, especially if everything worked out. Maybe they have been some of your first customers that really helped shape the company as well. But what happened in your case? Have you been working with them for a long time? Was it a new one?
No, it was a new one, and maybe that's I guess like already mistake number one, where we only gave a demo, right? A demo of what was it, 30 minutes, maybe 35 or 40 if we went over. So it was, I guess, like a short brief on what we've been doing. Like the thing I liked about that company is that they already are running an affiliate program. They are already successful, so they already know, I guess, how it works, how it should work, what our company can do for them with the network we have, etc. So I think this is kind of a mistake. Like we should have probably gotten them onboarded first, get them to use the product and kind of see like what we can offer rather than just doing it from a 30-minute demo. So, but yeah, again, like for them, they already did it. They're already so enthusiastic about affiliate marketing because it's a big channel for them where I was like, okay, well then if they already get it, then it's also a nice benefit for us to, if we do get acquired, we'll move them over. Our network grows again. So it's like a win-win-win in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what kind of due diligence have you started? Okay, you knew that they're into affiliate marketing. What else did you think you wanted to know about your acquirer before signing the deal?
Yeah, I think again, like this is one of the biggest mistakes we made when I thought about it, like at the end, just because we weren't looking to get acquired. Like we weren't really doing any due diligence on our buyer. Like as mentioned, it started with a fun Friday email, like sure, give me an offer, and then suddenly we were in semi negotiations, right? Like already talking about a certain deal. Like we just gave them some really rough numbers, like what we were doing, and then suddenly we were discussing, I guess, the rough terms of like how would they even want to acquire us. So we probably, yeah, we skipped that part. I mean, what I liked about it is that they were bootstrapped, no external funding, so they would really purchase us with their own money, and they kind of went through the same journey as us. Other than that, like we didn't ask for any financials, we didn't ask for any, I guess, like references or anything else. Like we kind of just went into the conversation from there. So we should have done things differently at the beginning there.
It was a good number.
Yeah, yeah, and that's it.
Okay.
Like I think you kind of get um how do you say, like starstruck, or like
Mm.
you see that number and you're like, ah, yeah, let's. And at the beginning, like I was not super distracted with it. I was like, oh sure, let's talk about it. This is probably not going to happen because it was almost a bit, I guess in our case, a bit too good to be true in a way. Like I mean, it was a good deal for everybody because um, the thing I guess I would definitely do different is that most of the money for us was based on the earnout as well, so we needed to still stay there. I think like upfront was 30-40%. The rest was based on earnouts. So there was quite a bit of trust towards them, I guess, if we would go forward with it, which made it a good deal for them. And in the end, a good deal for us because we're fully bootstrapped still, still semi early stages. So still haven't paid myself salary yet. So it's still like, I guess we're fully on growth mode. So I saw, I guess, the picture I could have if this would happen, like salary, money on the bank, earnouts in the future. So kind of, I guess, like focused on that a bit too much. But again, at the beginning, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll send you all the information, look at it, and I wasn't really thinking it would go through. To be honest, though.
Okay. All right. So it was kind of to be too good to be true, but you still
It,
obviously wanted it to happen.
yeah, but I mean, maybe the terms is not correct. Like it was realistic. Like if you look at the numbers, like where we had to go earnout wise, then the multiples were fine. Like it wasn't like too crazy or anything like that. But I guess like you don't hear that much that in the stage we're in that a company gets acquired for this amount, even though most of the it's in the earnout. So it's like, yeah, and maybe it's just me. I come
Hmm.
from a small village. Like even though we talk about all these millions all the time, right? Like it's not something I'm very accustomed with still. So I still need to get used to it. And I'm not going for $100 million exit if I need
Yeah.
to exit. Like I can comfortably live with a couple million.
Yeah. Yeah. No, completely makes sense. I mean, I think we discussed this with our M&A team, with the Dirk, our head of origination, quite a few times on the podcast. It's very difficult even later for like acquirers like us when there has been an offer like this, and even, even if it fell through, even if at the end of the day it didn't work out because obviously the other party couldn't secure financials as well, it's very difficult to work with such possibilities for us later because the number is stuck. Like, the number is a good number, right? And I always say, what, if it's a good number, just go for it. Don't think about your amazing fit with another acquirer. Don't think about, what's going to happen to the product, because the number will get stuck with you and you will regret this deal to the rest of your days, no matter what happens. So I kind of, like, from a personal point of view, I can completely understand. So what were the kind of the early little red flags that you started to notice?
Yeah, I think the biggest one was the financial part, because like we started with the email like, hey, we have X million on our bank account ready to deploy, and then I guess in the LOI it already became clear that they wanted to have a loan, which makes sense, right? Because you probably want to keep cash flow, so you just want to get a loan to do the purchase price and the earnouts. But at one point it became such a big thing in the deal that they kept pushing for it. They, if they couldn't get the loan, they wouldn't go forward with the deal. It was just, I guess, such a big thing. So we had a lawyer, and he was like, Joran, I don't think they have the money. Like, I'm getting really worried right now. And of course, I was like, oh, this deal is like nice. We want to go through, but I followed his guidance like everywhere, and I said like, just tell me, I guess, what can we do? What should we do? It's like, yeah, we need to build something in that you can't, like, what happens if they can't pay the earnout? Like there was the surety or like this holding company, and do they have money? Like, can they just have it go bankrupt? Like there were so many doubts, I guess, in that part. Like, do they have the money, that we had to, I guess, build in things, change the contracts, like I think that was the biggest thing, and it has been the biggest thing during the entire process.
Wow. Okay. And what have they asked you to show? Like, how did your data room look like? And for those who don't know what data room is, it's basically your Google Drive, a big folder that contains all the metrics, all the documents that you have ever produced with your company.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. A data room sounds always super fancy, but in the end, it's just a Google Drive link, and you're just gonna add all the documents in there which you have. So think about, I guess, like big contracts you have with clients. Think about contracts you have with employees or freelancers. Of course, all your metrics. Like, luckily, we already had like a sheet which has all our metrics in there. So we keep track of our cost and MRR like on a monthly basis in a Google sheet as well. So we could easily add it in there. Think about, I guess, like, how is your technical infrastructure being set up? Like, which tools are you using? How do they all work together? So they kind of get an overview on that. What is your strategy? So do you have a strategy document? Like, where do you see yourself in 6 months, a year, 2 years? So we had to create a lot of these documents because, I mean, we're a small team. I do not like to create these documents purely for myself. So some of them we do needed to create. But also think about, like, did you trademark your brand name, for example, which we didn't do. So we had to start that process as well. But basically anything, I guess, they're purchasing, they wanted to have. And they, of course, they wanted to have full insights into your SaaS. So for us, it also meant giving like a lot of product analytics, like what is the growth of the number of affiliates we have in our network? What is the growth of the number of SaaS? How many SaaS companies are generating commissions? From how many affiliates are they doing it? How many affiliates generate multiple commissions? So we had to generate a lot of, I guess, like metrics regarding our SaaS product analytics. And then that was, I guess, like the biggest thing. Of course, they wanted to know, are we actually growing, and is the SaaS doing what we say it does? So along with the numbers, that was the most important thing, like the revenue numbers.
Okay, so it seems like commercial due diligence was the biggest part of it. Did you go through the technical one?
Yeah. So we first did commercial. So that was, I guess, like almost the first thing they wanted to see, like, hey, does it actually make sense to do the technical DD? For technical DD, they hired like this consultancy firm. We jumped on a call with I think like 6 consultants or something like that. Had to give them access to all our tools. Like, luckily we have staging. Staging has non-personal information, so they couldn't actually see all the users. They couldn't actually see all the SaaS clients. They couldn't actually see like any personal information, which was really nice. So that's something I would recommend doing, because luckily we didn't give them access to production data. And then I think technical DD lasted for 3 weeks or something like that. And they went through the entire app, like everything, which was nice for us because they gave the potential acquirer a report with all the things they found. We got the report as well. So in the next cycle, we fixed most of the critical things they found already, and we added a couple of things to our roadmap. So that was really nice because we never had a second pair of eyes looking at our code base. So for me, as a non-technical founder, I have no idea how the code base actually looks and if it's good or not. But we kind of went through it like with green flags, or how do you call it, like flying colors, or so we went
Yeah.
through it like really nice. There were a couple of things which were super easy to fix, so that gave them confidence as well, because before they even, I guess, raised it, we almost got it fixed already. So that was quite nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's also one of the things that is not being discussed a lot. I mean, obviously, due diligence takes a toll on the founder, on the team. It's very meticulous. You have to prepare lots of documents, and you have to give access to lots of things in your business. It will pretty much all the things in your business, but it's such a great learning opportunity. And you already mentioned it for technical DD. Were there any findings during the commercial DD or financial where you were like, oh, okay, this is something that we never thought about, or we forgot, or okay, they're thinking about it from a very different perspective. So there is a growth opportunity for us.
I think we're a bit too early stage for that, to be honest. Just because, like, I mean, we kind of hack things together. Like, we didn't even show conversion rates going from website to sign up, from sign up to paid, just because, like, we don't have like then a lot of numbers. So we just passed like 100 plus paying clients. So I guess like getting those conversion rates isn't really what we've been focusing on. So for us, I guess that part didn't like, it went quite easy. I guess the biggest challenge for me, I guess, or the most time draining was, of course, keep following up on like where are they with the funding, like with the getting the financials in order. But the contract, like at one point the contract became 55 pages or something like that. So you have to go through it line
Yeah.
by line with your lawyer, like, and you think sometimes I think I understand what it says, and then he explains it to me, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is not what you want or how you want it. So it's like, I think that was the most draining part, because the technical DD, my co-founder knows exactly what's going on. Financial DD, I kind of know what's going on. Of course, commercial DD, I know what's going on. But then with the lawyer stuff, like, it's just another level.
Did you try to feed it to ChatGPT? Like, okay, explain this to me, like I'm a 5-year-old.
I did, but I guess like I think I did it once and it explained it maybe a bit wrong, or it's like, yeah, this is probably not what it is actually meaning. So yeah, you need lawyers to actually like,
Translators.
yeah, because there's such a small difference in sometimes how the wording is. It can mean completely
Mm.
something else, and I guess that was an eye opener for me.
Oh my god! That I was I was working on the M&A course today, and there was a part about legal DD, and we do have a folder full of memes for this course, and there was maybe you remember if you watched Friends when Joey was writing a letter for the adoption agency, and he just completely like just went to a dictionary and changed every word to the fanciest looking word. And I feel like that's exactly what's happening there, because I was like, oh my god, this is so difficult.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't
And
imagine.
I think they do. I don't know. They do it on purpose. Like, it especially in our case, it didn't have to be this complicated. Like, I guess it kind of maybe already started a bit with the LOI, where like I thought you just get a one pager, like what is the actual deal, and the LOI was, I can't remember how many pages, but it was, I think 10 or something like that. So it was already long. So I was like, is this what we're going through? And yeah, we did. So it's like yeah,
Yeah.
fun
Do you
experience.
know if they have acquired a company before you?
No, and that's the thing. Like, we were the first one, so I guess like it's also, it was new for them. So
Yeah.
it was almost like a shared journey in a way, right? And that's the thing I did like about it. Like, we had a Slack channel. You can be like super honest against each other because it's just founder to founder, and then we kind of just left the lawyer stuff sometimes just to them, right? Which didn't always go well either, but in the end, we had like normal conversations between each other, and then that was quite nice, and they had to figure things out a lot as well, which did delay things, I would say, as well. Like, probably if they have done it before, it would have been a lot smoother as well, because they took, like, how do you say, like consultancy, or they
Mm-hmm.
outsourced
An advisor.
everything, like, yeah, literally everything. So it's like it has been
All right.
an expensive ride for them. I
Oh
can,
yeah, I can imagine. Absolutely. And yeah, I think like in this case, if you were like you, I don't want to say against, but in a way against the advisors, and again, just understanding that that's your first deal, it can be very draining and very difficult to go head to head with with people who have been through this and can kind of properly represent the other party. So you only had a lawyer in this process.
yeah, yeah, and yes, I mean, I have an advisor, but he has no clue about, I guess, merger and acquisition. So I purely
Okay.
had my lawyer indeed.
Oh wow. Oh right.
Yeah,
Interesting. And did you guys have to okay, taking the DD findings into account, did you have to renegotiate the price somewhere? Was that even an issue, or okay, they kind of, just submitted their bid and were going with it all along?
yeah, yeah. It was the last, so we kind of agreed on the deal already, I guess, before doing the LOI, and that was a deal we went through the entire process. So
Okay.
never change terms, and that's, I guess, like some things you hear a lot where they're gonna try to renegotiate terms or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Never happened. So that was, I guess, the nice part of the deal. Like, we just had this, and we're gonna, yeah, pull through on that.
Oh my god, all the acquirers listening to this, they will be like, okay, I can go in.
Yeah,
Everything's good with Reditus. But I mean, obviously, it is. I mean, even if you saw the warnings and you realize there are red flags, and maybe at the end of the day, it wasn't really a fit, such a deal falling apart, it is a toll on you personally and maybe on the team if you involve the team. And, let me know if you did that. So, yeah, how did you take it?
I mean, the entire process took 7 months ish. So first email to them saying like it's not going to go through, and I think that's the biggest thing, that at one point it felt like a time wasted in a way. But because they used all these consultants and, I guess, like lawyers and bookkeepers, like the technical DD, like I didn't have the feeling like at one point I thought they invested so much money into this, they can't back out. And our lawyer built in that if the technical or if the entire DD was good, if the DD was finalized, they have to cover our legal costs up to 20K if they decided to back out. And I don't know like how much people charge or charge, how much lawyers charge in every country, but here, like, we had a Dutch lawyer, I think his hourly rate was like 800, 900 euros or something like that. So the 20K, you are going to touch it like pretty quickly. So they had a lot of, I guess, like money spent already, which, yeah, we kind of knew that. I didn't have the expectation that it was gonna go fall through. So I guess this is why we were okay with like dragging it along, because we were just kind of waiting for them to get the loan. The loan was approved, They just needed to get this like national approval from the national bank, and then from there we would just put a date, and then we would sign the agreements, because the share purchase agreement, which was 55 pages, was almost done. It was just a matter of like changing a couple of things. So I think if you ask then, like, how was it when the deal didn't fall through? Like, I did not see it come in. Like, I literally saw like we were so far. It was a matter of just changing a couple of lines and them getting the finance and just putting a date on it. Because that was at one point I told my lawyer, please stop working, because I know he passed the 20K threshold. So I said, stop working until we have a date. Then we'll do the details again, because otherwise, like, if he just spends a couple of hours, it's just a couple of thousand euros again. So I did not expect it, even though I built some safeguards in, of course. I did not expect it. So I think when he messaged me on a Friday afternoon or something like that, like, hey, Joran, I booked a call in your calendar for Monday to talk about next steps regarding the acquisition. It's like, okay, well, we have a date. Like, you got it figured out. And then booked in an hour on my calendar. We left the meeting after 5 or 6 minutes, I think so already. Basically, he told me like, we're not gonna go forward with the deal. They couldn't get the national approval, which caused some, I guess, like, how do you call it, like liability on their end. And in the meantime, in those 7 months, they started to build another product internally, took some focus away from developers and marketing, and they weren't sure how Reditus would fit in with, I guess, like that as a third product, because they now already are launching the second product, which is unrelated to us. So I got that question a lot, like, hey, are they now building something similar? No, they're
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
But they just noticed that it might get a bit more traction than they were initially expecting. So they kind of just said, like, we're going to focus on that. So heard that in 5 or 6 minutes. I asked them, like, well, I guess, like, this is already set, because I feel like this is already, there's no, how do you say, like, wiggle room, or, yeah, that they come
Yeah.
back on it and said, like, no, we made our decision. So I was like, well, then there's no need to talk about it anymore. So we jumped off the call, like,
Wow.
yeah, and that was it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I guess you asked, like, did I inform the team? I mean, we're just three full time. So me, my co-founder, and then we have a front end developer. Like, he has stock options, he has a freelance agreement. Like, he needed to sign all the documents that the acquirer didn't have. I guess, like, legal things regarding his stock options that I need to buy them off, or at least pay him this money. And also with his freelance contract, like, he needed to end this at the moment we got acquired. So I kind of let go of my only employee already before signing stuff. So he was already looking for other jobs. Luckily, he didn't find anything. So we could, I don't want to say rehire, because we never fired him, I guess, in the first place. But luckily, he stayed with us. We're now still with the three of us. And
Okay.
I think that's maybe the biggest thing. Like, it's not just the founder's life you're affecting, right? But it's also, I guess, all the people around it. Like, the advisor would get some money, like the co-founder get money, like my employee gets money, and things are changing for them as well. So it's not just, I guess, like, you're affecting yourself, but all the people around you. And luckily we're not as big, but I can imagine how it would be, I guess, if you have to inform your team when you're bigger. Like, it's just going to be more people involved in it, and
Yeah.
maybe, yeah, they're going to be unhappy after if things don't go through.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always a bit of a dilemma, and I always ask founders who are stepping into an acquisition process or just been through it, like, if they told the team or not. And some did, and it went through, and some people immediately started looking for something else because they didn't want to kind of jump into this new adventure with new people. They didn't know how it's going to go. And, there is a lot of bias around it too. Okay, you're getting acquired, you're probably, getting fired after that, which, or at least, for us is not true, or at least not always true. There are very different scenarios and situations, and ways to reassign people to different roles. But I think the majority of founders don't do it, especially if it's a bit of a bigger team. Just because, like you said, if it goes through, perfect, probably good news for everybody. But if it doesn't, then you are in a weird situation where you have to explain why it went wrong, and then there is still a bit of this trust issue. Okay, are we trying to sell to somebody else? Are we, in a bad position? Is something wrong with our, I don't know, market, product, whatever? So yeah, it's a bit of a dilemma. It's interesting how every individual founder just approaches this.
Yeah, yeah. Like I kind of treat things internally like there's no secrets in a way that they can ask, I guess, whatever. So also after this, like, okay, well, we kind of went through it together. Like, well, this is why they didn't go through. And for me, it was almost impossible to hide it because we did the technical DD, right? We're just with the three of us, one front end, one back end developer. So there were kind of come things out of front end, or I needed sometimes information from them. So I guess like I couldn't hide it if I wanted to. And in the end, like I don't want to. I kind of want to inform them. Maybe it's going to be different if we're bigger, that you don't inform everybody just to not give them false hopes or anything like that. But yeah, that's kind of how we like to do things. At least keep everybody as informed as possible.
That's great. Yeah, you told me already that, after the technical DD, you figured out maybe some changes that need to be done. Is there any other things that you found out during the DD or just during the process, because you were so into, the business, just trying to figure out how everything works? Did that bring any ideas on how to change the strategy going forward?
Yeah, so I think like one thing we did, but I think it's also due to the phase as the company we're in right now. Like we're going to really start tracking, I guess, conversion rates. How fast do we get the value moment to affiliates, to SaaS companies? Like really, I guess, start tracking things a lot better, full funnel wise. So I think that's something like we just set up 2 weeks ago, something like that, where we're pushing or we're gathering all the data, pushing it to a system, and then we can start creating these funnels. So I guess next time, if somebody asks us like, "Hey, does it affect if you have a meeting with a client on conversion rate, or doesn't it? Or how fast do people actually close? How fast does the affiliate earn their first commission?" Those kind of things are, I mean, we have the data, but it's super hard to extract right now. So I think just getting everything into a system and start gathering the data. So at one point, if we go through this process again, we just have it there already. And we have the history. So I think that like that's definitely one thing you can always do like super soon already. At least start gathering the data, push it to a system. You don't have to do much with it, but at least like if you're gonna have the questions, and you're gonna have the questions in DD, and especially I guess like if people want to know how your company's actually doing, you need to have those kind of things. And for us, we kind of hacked our way until now, but now we also come into a phase where we are going to launch paid ads. So we need to know our numbers. So I guess that's something we did. Like during the process, we applied, I guess, for our trademark. So luckily now we own Reditus as a brand name, which is nice. I mean, I wouldn't have done it this soon right now. And other than that, like I think we just fully focused, went back on hustle mode, like sales wise. I think like the entire process was such a distraction for me. I'm the only business guy. So like I was talking to the lawyers, preparing all the documents, like mentally super distracted, I guess, with everything going on regarding the acquisition, that I kind of just took the mind shift again. Okay, we need to just focus on sales. I mean, if we just keep growing, then in the end, our position will be a lot more comfortable next time we go into a process like this. I think that's what I learned. Like we were a bit too eager for the deal rather than being able to lay back and also put some demands on their end. Like we need to know things by this time frame. And just because I guess we were too eager, we didn't really do it. We asked nicely, and next time, I guess we just need to be in a position where we can just say, like, if we're not gonna do this before this time frame, then we're out.
Yeah, I feel like, with an acquisition, we always say like, okay, you're coming to a long-term relationship, and in a relationship there is a honeymoon first. But I feel like with an acquisition, it's, it's the bickering, it's the fights, it's everything else that goes first before you go on a honeymoon. And hopefully, you bicker enough and figure out enough first for the honeymoon to happen. But what do you think maybe, you could have done a bit differently to not be as distracted, in terms of, okay, we have to hassle to like get all the documents in place, and also, maybe for them to kind of have a bit of a structure maybe for you to follow, like what goes when, like you said, with the
Mhm.
deadlines, like what would be helpful?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like I think, I mean, if you it's completely different, I guess, if you go for a company like yourself, right? Like you probably guys have a process. You can tell the founder like these are the steps you're going to take, and this is where we are right now. This is what you need to provide in these stages. Because we were selling to a company who never acquired a business, so we were kind of both in the dark. Could I have done things differently? I don't know, because it was the first time I went into a process like this. So I was unclear what is going to happen, what is needed. Needed quite a bit of education of myself, like on how to, yeah, on the entire process, but also on the documents, the things you need to prepare and things like that. So next time I'm going to be well prepared. We already now have, like, of course, the foundation of the data room. We know what has to go in there. At least we already got vetted on a technical DD. So it's like we know that the foundation is good. So we're going to be a lot better prepared next time. But could I have known this, or could I have done things differently last time? I don't know. Like the only thing I definitely want to do, but it's super hard mentally, is to keep focus on growing the business. Because it's just, I guess, and it's, I kept telling to myself, you need to grow the business no matter what. Like if you get acquired or not, the business has to grow. But when you're in this process and you think that things are going to fall through and you're going to be acquired by a bigger company and you have no processes, like things live everywhere, and mostly in my head, like you need to start prepping things like what if a team comes on board. So besides, I guess, my time went into the acquisition process, it also went into what happens, I guess, after the process. How can we make sure that people actually know how Reditus works, what are the things we need to do, and etc. So it's, I would definitely see, I guess, like how can you keep focus on growing no matter what. It's going to be super hard mentally because we were still, I want to be, I guess, like a product led, but in the end we're again semi early stage, so a lot of is dependent on me jumping on calls and selling, and following up. So that is something I neglected a little bit, which I guess hurt our growth. We're now back on it because we went back in hustle mode, but I should have kept going on that.
That's a very good one. I think a lot of founders kind of have their eyes on the prize, and just forget a bit about here and now.
Yeah.
But what's your outlook now? Like how has it shaped your approach to a possible future acquisition, for example? Like what is definitely one thing that you would recommend yourself maybe a year ago going into that process, and other founders right now?
Yeah, so I mean, get legal counsel early. That's definitely something I would do. Like, and I mean, we were lucky that I have quite a few connections, with the things I do. So I guess people, I had some lawyers check the LOI, things like that, for free, because they know that I was going to take them forward if the deal's gonna go to like a share purchase agreement. So find, I guess, like at least people around you who can help you, because contracts and things like that are going to be more complicated or have a lot of nuance in there which you might not understand, and you commit to something you don't want to. I think definitely do your due diligence on the buyer. So don't what we do, like see something really shiny and nice and then forget about the foundation, I guess. So definitely, do that and keep trusting your gut along the way. Like if things starting to feel off, or if your lawyer says like, hey, this doesn't feel right, or we need to start building in safeguards to make sure you don't actually lose the company or not be able to get your earnouts, then those are a bit like red flags you should be aware of, and maybe even think like, is this the right thing to go forward with? But most of all, I guess, like be in a comfortable position to start with, where you can take control over the entire process in a way as well, where you can set demands, and if it doesn't go through, then life goes on. So don't, how do you say it, bet on one horse, or make sure you're going to put
Yeah.
everything into the acquisition.
Awesome. Those are great. Thank you so much. And thanks for sharing the story. It's not often that founders want to talk about this. I know it's a very emotional topic. I mean, we had some deals not go through at the end, and it was very difficult to maintain normal relationship after, because I mean, yes, people want to believe that it's happening, but yeah, it's I think it's a great learning, and hopefully, for you that means a great acquisition in the future. But tell me more. What's happening with Reditus? What are you doing? Like, what's next? What to expect still in Q4?
Yeah. So, I mean, we're growing nicely, even though I guess like we didn't focus much on sales. Like, we have a network of affiliates on one side, and then SaaS companies on the other side. So, like, we went, I guess, if you talk a little bit about journey, we went to the chicken egg like a lot of times, right? We first had to get offering in our marketplace, so those were a bit more early stage SaaS companies. Then those attracted affiliates. Then we were able to get bigger SaaS companies, get more affiliates, etc. So we went back and forth a couple of times. Now we have companies like Expandi, Miro, OneFlow, so big SaaS companies who are now in the marketplace on one side. We have, I guess, like 20,000 plus affiliates on the other side. So we're kind of just still doing a bit chicken egg. So we want to get bigger companies in, which are in the pipeline, migrating a lot of companies to us. But I think the biggest challenge overall SaaS companies have with affiliate marketing is to find the right affiliates. Even though we have 20,000 in our network, is never enough, and they might not always apply to the program which joins us. So now we're going to build our first AI features where we're going to actually find affiliates for SaaS companies based on their profile. So we're going to look at competitors, keywords, influencers, communities, newsletters, anything which could be interesting for them. People who have access to their ICP, we're going to find them for them, suggest them as an affiliate, and then they can reach out to them. So that's going to be the biggest thing we're going to build in, let's say Q4.
That's a cool plan. Looking forward to see how it works.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
as
and the goal, I guess, like we're now focused so much on value in a way that we're gonna see how can we decrease the time of people getting value, and this is one of the bigger things.
going back to fundamentals, startup
Exactly.
101. Yeah, no, that's good. I think so many people are distracted by those shiny things that it's good to sometimes be like, okay, where is our value? Where is the aha moment? And start from scratch from there. But you know that I always ask at the end about a hack. So this year, I think we did our podcast like maybe a year and a half ago, maybe even longer. But yeah, maybe you got a new one, and it can be about acquisition, can be about building AI features, anything that you think will be helpful for other founders.
I think a hack nowadays, and I don't know if a lot of SaaS companies already do it, but leverage, I guess, AI tools which are out there. Like for me personally, for example, I'm building the MVP for our AI agents. I'm using Lovable, and then of course connected to Superbase, and then we have N8N running on the background. So I'm able to, instead of me, I guess, like coming with a project to the developers, like, hey, can we build this? And I think it should look like this and should do something like Y. I actually built the entire product myself in a way, like with an agency who built the agents, and then I built the front end. So I'm actually using it already with a couple of clients, or gave them access. We can get feedback already before we even put it into the product. So we have something working right now already. It's not perfect because if I want to change a button, or if I wanted to change something small, something big changes as well. So it's definitely not bulletproof, but I love it just because I'm able to, I guess, like build it, visualize it, work with it, get client feedback before I even have my developers write one line of code. So I think that's definitely a hack you should be using. Like, I wouldn't recommend building it for an entire product just yet, but leverage it to build your MVP, to build, I guess, new features. So you can kind of explain it better to your devs, like what do you actually want, and speed up development time a lot.
That's a great one. I love it. I was talking to another founder, and he said they do have like an innovation team per se that does exactly that. And, they are the product minds that can visualize whatever they want. And then once it gets validated, then they give it to the developers team. But they already have the skeleton for this. And it's just so much easier to go into production.
Exactly, yeah, because like if I would give this, I guess, as a project to my backend developer, he has no idea how to actually build the backend or how to build a database. But now I already know how it needs to look or what data it needs to contain, because we already have it and we already have like a database working in Superbase, but we can then put it into our own application. So I think it's just gonna speed things up so much.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you so much for sharing. And like I said, thanks for being, open and honest about your experience. It's a great learning opportunity, I think, for everyone who's looking for an exit or thinking about it for the future. So yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah, no worries. And I think like I always thought, I mean, we were special in a way, like right, this didn't go through, but as soon as you start sharing the story, you hear a lot more people saying like, yeah, this happened to me as well, or this happens a lot. I was like, yeah, well, why don't you hear about it? So I'm happy that we now got to do this as well.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for sharing. All
No
right,
worries.
hope to do it again sometime then. Not about a failed acquisition, but
We,
about your
no
new
worries.
AI
We don't
features.
have anything planned yet. So
All right. Well, thanks for being here, Joran.
thanks, Anna.
Take care.